I got a new video here of Joe Rogan absolutely laying into the UK for their digital IDs, which, by the way, if you didn't know, markcarney wants to bring them to Canada too. I believe they're already doing this in other countries in Europe as well, and Joe Rogan's going to explain why this is a horrific idea. Now, before we get into this, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help grow the channel, and I appreciate you so much for doing that for me. So let's have a look, and then we'll talk about it.
What you're seeing in other countries is moving to digital IDs. This is just implemented in Europe and in the UK. Yep. You're seeing it in a lot of places where you're going to have to need that to work and vote and travel. And it'll be even more of a constriction on your ability to express yourself, particularly when you think about the UK, which has had more than 12,000 arrests for very mild social media posts.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I can't believe that. I've been watching this stuff play out.
Fascinating, and the fact that our mainstream media is relatively silent on this is insane. You're seeing a complete, total attack on one of the most fundamental principles of the Western world, which is your ability to express yourself. And your ability to call out that you think that the policies that are being implemented in your country are destructive. That's people have always been able to do that. These people are not calling for violence. Yep. They're being arrested for wild things. People are being arrested for liking posts. Yep. They're being some people were investigated for viewing posts. 12,000 people arrested by the police in the UK. The same place that just...
That's insane, by the way. And again, censorship, controlled speech, digital IDs, massive surveillance, that's what they want. Because that's what all big governments want. They want to control you and watch everything that you're doing and make sure that you are dependent on them instead of being in a free society, which is what we're supposed to be.
Implemented digital ID. I mean, this is an Orwell nightmare coming to life right in front of our face. And no one's flinching. No one in America is freaking out about what's happening in the UK at all. I mean, you get people online that are kind of freaked out by it, but they're way more freaked out by nonsensical things like whether or not what Jimmy Kimmel said in his monologue was offensive. Yeah. They'll go to the ends of the earth to fight that.
Well, they're programmed. That's the programming.
Well, it's easy. That's a simple thing, and it doesn't freak you out. Like, if you could get Jimmy Kimmel canceled, fuck him. If you could do that, like, you have some power. You have power. But you really don't. If you look at what's going on, like in the UK, what they're learning over there is that they are in a tyrannical government, and it's slowly but surely. It's got its back. It's got the hooks in, and it's putting the rear naked choke in. It's got them locked up. And they've got to do something about that.
Why do you think that's happening?
Why? Because of what we talked about, power and control and resources. And a very limited amount of people are controlling a huge amount of people. A limited amount of people with fantastic access to resources and the ability, for the first time in human history, where you have individuals that are in charge of companies that they can shift the entire narrative of the world. Yeah. So they're doing it through these tech companies for the first time ever. Totally unanticipated. 20 years ago, didn't exist.
So I'm saying for the first time, the tech allows for the remaking of our humanness.
Well, it allows for new methods of control and resource extraction. And we found out that data itself is a fantastic resource and worth billions and billions of dollars. So some of the richest companies that have ever existed, they're data companies now. That's kind of nuts. And that's like we missed that. But this is all the same thing that happens with kings and with emperors. It's control. You got to limit the people's ability to rebel, limit their ability to gather resources, keep them at each other's throats ideologically, keep them fighting over the dumbest shit possible, including the color of their skin, fight over everything. What gods you believe in, what foods you eat, what fucking computer you use. Keep them fighting over everything, and then get social media bots to continue that fight going all day long. Meanwhile, closer and closer and closer to total control of the population, where they're even openly stating it. Hillary Clinton said in an interview, if we can't control social media, we lose control.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? And again, I talk about this a lot on this channel. Big governments like the one we have here in Canada want control. They want power. They're not here to help you. They are here to help themselves, their investments, They're rich donors. And that's it. They don't want you healthy. They don't want you intelligent. They don't want you informed. They don't want you free or independent or self-reliant. They want you to rely on them, because if you got to the point where people are relying on the government, that means you need that government. If you need that government, they're going to stay in power. Every time you see big governments act like this, it never goes well. Ever.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have control over other human beings. Yeah, you're going to lose the thing you're not supposed to have. An elected official is supposed to be a representative for the people. You're supposed to be a person who's a public servant, where you go out and you do this incredibly moral and ethical and beautiful thing where you sacrifice your time for the betterment of your community and your society. Instead of just a means of extracting fantastic wealth that is totally unprecedented and that shouldn't exist in the first place. You shouldn't be able to take that fucking job and then immediately go and start working for some Fortune 500 company making billions of dollars. Like, that's crazy if you're a government employee and involved in any regulatory fashion, and then you go and work for the very industry you were regulating. Or if you're a person who runs for office and you get in office and then all of a sudden you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars when your salary is $170,000 a year. Like, it's real obvious what's going on. It's just wealth extraction. And the way to do that is with control. You have to have control over people, and you have to be able to censor them.
By the way, Justin Trudeau had a salary of, I think, $350,000 a year for, I think, about 10 years. And he's worth tens of millions of dollars. How'd that happen? Nancy Pelosi insider trading? It's supposed to be illegal. If you or I did that, we'd be in jail. Very interesting, isn't it? The people who are in power can break the rules, because what are you going to do? You're not going to throw Nancy Pelosi in jail. She's too rich and powerful, too influential, I guess, somehow. There's rules for thee, and then there's rules for me, the so-called, that's what rich people would say. They don't say it, but that's the case. We saw it during COVID. We see it when you are on a certain list, or if you're worth a certain amount of money, you can get away with a lot. That's corruption. The government wants to basically install a very, we already are in a corrupt system, but they want to keep going. They want control. They want not just a little bit, like total control, total dependence. And there are some governments where that is the case. Some countries live like that, and it just never, ever goes well for the middle class. You just become a society of rich and poor people, and 98% of people are going to be poor. And that's what we're staring down the barrel of, unless we change.